This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. The time being 4:45, I'd like to call this meeting of May 30th, 2024 to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start next with the approval of minutes for May 16th. I do have a couple of corrections. Do you have any, Catherine? Scott?
Yeah, I'm only on page 6, but I have one that just came across.
I have one on 4, under where it starts off with the senior center bus is in need of replacement. The second sentence where it starts, the manufacturing was kind enough to two engineers, it should be in that Spinnaker. I think we should recognize that Spinnaker took the time to make that happen. Guy Nickerson. That was mentioned. And you're on page 6 now, Catherine? Okay.
Selectmen's report, Selectman Dawson. Somewhere in there, I think the conclusion should be that, Tim explained to us that once you dump your trash bucket, they're gone. So whatever words used, I think that conclusion should be in there.
Right.
Neil? Thank you, yes. That's all I've come across so far.
Okay. And I have on page 8, under where it says Selectman Constantino, senior center generator installation, there should be installation in between there. Seems to be going progressively well. And then the next sentence, Chris was up there in the DPW dug the trench. Not did the trench, dug the trench. And the only other thing, and I don't know if this, you folks want this as a regular, going forward, let me just go back to where it was. There was a motion on page 3, made a motion to adopt the union CBA pay time off schedule. All in favor, 1 abstention. I really do believe that we should name the 1 abstention going forward. Nobody knows who that abstention is. So
We haven't in the past, though, have we?
No.
we have not.
We don't indicate
If
who votes
it
yes or who
says,
votes
if
no.
Catherine says, let the record show.
Okay.
If I say, and
Right.
sometimes I will, please let the record show that I was against
But
or
that's a
whatever.
specific request.
Okay, got it. All right, then we're good with that then. Anybody else? No? All right, let's go back for corrections. Okay, selectmen's reports. Catherine.
The planning board met with the attorney Tuesday night. It was very fruitful, very, a lot of knowledge was gained. And we went forward with part of the advice. And then the planning board will decide whether or not they want to continue. But it was a very good meeting. The planters for the, along the rivers. It was a combination of both conservation and parks that planted them and then put them along the river. So it was really cool. That's it.
Actually, I'll give these
So
to
we got-
John.
Good.
Thanks,
That
John.
it? Thank you. They really look nice too, Catherine. And thank you for the troughs. That really looks great.
So we'll finish the round on Saturday.
Yeah, good.
We ran out of time because of the parade.
The parade, yeah. Thank you. Let the record show John Selectman Scanlon has just arrived at 4:50. John, you're next. Do you want me to skip over you and come back, or do you? Okay. Scott,
I don't have anything this week.
okay. Joe,
Nor do I.
okay.
Back to me.
Yeah, you guys have 30 seconds though, John.
There we go. Well, it was a great turnout at the Memorial Day Parade. I don't know if anybody already discussed that. It was great to see a lot of people there. I want to thank one of our Northfield residents. I don't have his name here. Had brought a ladder down, and we put some of the flags that had broken overnight, and they were just dangling. And we all got together and put them and reattached them so they were hanging right.
John got up on the ladder and
On the utility poles?
on
Yeah.
the utility poles and tie wrapped them.
Well, I went up because he was concerned that he would get in trouble for it, and I figured being a selectman, I'm always getting in trouble anyway, so what does it matter?
So true.
I think for town insurance, it covers better. I want to thank him for it.
Right. He was the spoke behind the pushing, huh?
And that's it.
Okay. I have a few things. I'll make up for all the ones that didn't. Timetable Mabel, behind, I should say behind Timetable Mabel, there's the fence along the river where it's really not concrete. It's more or less granite, isn't it?
The
Along there.
granite blocks.
There is the black pipe fence. Will that black pipe fence no longer exist from Timetable Mabel beyond where that gray house is? And I'm not sure who the ownership belongs to. I know we had to purchase the land in order to have Timetable Mabel sit there. So we need to do a little bit of research to find out who the ownership is that along the river, because there's children in that building there, and I'm concerned because there's no fencing at all. It's rotted out.
Property owner would own the fence.
Well,
Must
it
have
goes-
Part of our.
So we own the section now that's
Right behind
on our property.
on
And then
it
the next
begins
property
right.
owner would own that section.
It begins behind. You can right in back of Timetable Mabel. It's very shaky, and some pieces are missing.
We should have Public Works check our section of it.
Right. The
Be awful if somebody leaned on it and
The-
kept going.
the DPW workers, not the director. He's on vacation. They're the one that brought it to my attention. Okay.
There's aren't there steps too that go down to the river?
Yeah.
There's a little,
Right. Yep. So we need to check in on that. Like John said, the parade was a success, and like John is, he's everywhere around town fixing something. So appreciate that very much. Maple Court, almost a year ago, the water company, in anticipation of last year having Maple Court and Poplar Street being paved, they redid their water and put somewhat of a I know, wouldn't call it a hydrant, but what do you call it? A water access point. So they dug up along from the Maple Court down Poplar Street, and then from Cedar Street on up to Poplar Street on the side of where Ray Tilton lives. Well, if you remember, those of us that have been on the board, Ray came to us years ago and specifically asked for the board to do something with the runoff that's coming off of Maple Court. And we built a berm. Kevin built a really nice berm that took some of the water and directed it into the drain off of across the street into Cedar Street. So it was a combination of a swale and a berm, which was taken up by the water company and never replaced. As a matter of fact, it was half as long as ledge pack. Nothing was replaced at all.
Has the town ever contacted the water district to replace it, or just Mr. Tilton?
No, nobody from the town has asked them to replace it. And alongside of the road on Poplar Street, that was, kind of torn up, and that's all kind of ledge packed too. So, but we haven't repaved, we haven't paved the road. I don't know if it's on time for this year being paved or not. I don't quite know, but the berm is not going to be paved by R&D. It needs to be put back there because it significantly washed away part of the lawn. If you remember, about 4 years, just about 4 years ago, it was put back there for that reason.
We should contact the water district either by phone call or mail and tell them they need to put that back in. They removed it.
Yeah.
Do we have some kind of documentation that it was there, other than hearsay? And I'm not casting aspersions on Mr. Tilton or your memory. I just wonder if this is what it looked like then. This is what it looks like
Take a
now.
look at Street View on Google.
I'm sure that there are people in the DPW that still work there that know that what it looked like, because
Street
there's some
View
of
would
them
have it.
that are still there that work there.
Kevin might have put it into one of his.
Right.
Yeah.
We might be able to look back on the minutes and see that. 286 Main Street. It's called Rare on Main Street, that new store next to Snip and Tuck. The owner came in today and asked if they could do anything with the little square in the sidewalk that has mulch on it. And I explained that there's below that has a little electrical unit that's buried there, but they wanted to bury some, plant some flowers. I don't know where we're at with the barrels, and I don't know if there's enough barrels. I think there was only 5, and I don't know where the placement of those are. But if we did get one down in front, she would gladly plant flowers there.
They're not in yet? I didn't notice.
No, there's no barrels though. We have self-watering barrels, but I believe there's only 5. And it was economic development that was able to get those, but and I don't know where the placement of them are going to be, but
We had evenly spread them out. So why don't we just say that becomes one of the spots we put them in?
well, that would be great.
Judy Tilton had volunteered to work with them on the barrels,
Yeah.
because that was part of the discussion with the boxes on the fences.
And I'm guessing that they're down at Public Works.
Yep.
If they're anywhere.
They are.
So yes.
They are there.
Go ahead, John.
So I just checked. I'd written down the names. It was Bill McHugh, Hugh, and Michelle, who brought the ladder down.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was their Yeah, they deserve the credit for it. He's a veteran,
Okay,
and he brought it to my attention, and so I want to thank him. It was so like a little with Northfield residents and myself and um, Bill Lawrence. It was like a little Iwo Jima there, putting the flag back up on the pole. So
right.
it was a big effort by that they instigated.
Yes, it
Thank you.
was. It was great. Um, uh, Land use coordinator is attending school on June 5th, 11th, and the 12th in New Hampshire Municipal Association classes. Lakes Region Planning Commission has 2 representatives on the said commission. We are entitled to 2 representatives, and as per RSA 36:46, they requested that the planning board nominate and the select board appoint. As you have it, we had a planning board meeting on Tuesday, and the planning board nominated Nate Langione, and the alternate is Eric. So do we want to appoint those as representatives to the Lakes Region Planning Board?
So
I'm all about
the
that.
select board does one, and the
Well, and also in accordance with LRPC bylaws, you are also entitled to appoint 1 alternate commissioner. The alternate position recently filled by Paul Branscombe is now vacant.
I used to do
I'll
it.
nominate Joe.
I used
for-
to do it. I was on the planning commission for 5 or 6 years anyway.
Mhm.
If you'd like to do that,
Do-
I'd nominate
do we
Joe.
Do we have Joe be interim until we have a new town administrator?
We can switch switch
It can be
canoes.
anybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we
that-
can switch canoes in the middle of the stream, no problem. Well, relatively little problem because I can swim.
It's gotta be shallow.
That's right.
It is now.
So do you just, we need a.
So we need a motion to appoint Nate and Eric as the
Second.
alternate, I'm sorry. Okay. Any discussion?
So
Others?
there's one more that has to be nominated.
Well, no, that would be ours.
So listen, it
Who
says,
nominated me.
let me read it. It says, as per RSA, we are requesting that the planning board nominate, selectmen appoint 1 more commissioner to represent the town. In accordance with LRPC bylaws, you are entitled to appoint 1 alternate commissioner. The alternate position recently filled by Paul is now vacant. Commissioner terms of 4 years unless there are remaining balance left by a prior commissioner. 2 are appointed at the same time. Please note the vacant commissioner position has a remaining term balance of November 9th, 2024, and the vacant alternate position has a remaining balance of May 3rd, 2026. So it seems to me that there are only 2 positions vacant. 1, a commissioner, and 1, an alternate commissioner. And I would assume from this letter, it's Nate and Eric.
So Paul was there before, correct?
Correct.
Instead, so we're not going to use anybody from the select board. I think it's important to
I think
have.
we just talked about me doing it.
Yeah, I just nominated Joe.
So we could do that and then just take 1 from the planning board.
And
It
It's
says
up to the Board
2
of
from planning
Selectmen.
board.
It's up to the select board who we appoint. Those are just
always has
nominations
been.
those are just nominations from the planning board.
One's an alternate, one's a member,
Correct.
and they want 2 members, right?
Well, correct.
Okay. So
We have
alternate,
We have
we
one
have-
already.
Jane Alden on the directors. She's
not a member.
not a member. She's on the board of directors.
Right, so we don't have a member.
It says the town of Tilton currently has only 1 commissioner. So we have 1. I
Who's
don't know
that?
who that is, but we have 1, according to them.
Who is that?
We can have two.
Is that the one they're
Well,
thinking
are they
that
aware that Paul
Paul's not here?
Branscombe has retired?
Yes, it says it's vacant.
And
Specifically,
that's the
Well, it's a little
alternate.
embarrassing. We don't know who
Oh, boy.
who
I'm
they're
not
referring to.
clear on that.
Tim, can you look up on the thing and just say,
So you have two representatives on said commission,
That's right. But we have one.
and we're gonna see who that is.
So we show for Lakes Region Planning Commission,
Yep.
term expires 2020.
so do they consider that a member? And she's been moved up to the board of directors. So do they still consider that a
And
member?
just like the garbage co-op, I'm a member of the joint board, but I'm also a member of the
Board of
executive,
directors?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
executive committee.
All right, so
But
they're
I'm still-
considering Jane.
I couldn't be on the
member.
board of directors unless I was a member.
So do we,
Jane's a member,
so do we
And
still
then-
want to consider three from the planning board? No, we want to have one from the
One.
from the board of selectmen.
or
Right.
our town administrator. one or
So
the other.
if we do Nate and Joe as, we do Nate as an alternate. We'll do Joe as a planning commissioner, and then Joe, and then Nate as an alternate.
I like Nate
Yeah.
being the commissioner because that gets him directly involved in the organization. And this is all about going forward. He could be on the commission for years and years. Who knows?
Well,
And
if,
before Paul, it was Jeannie.
okay, before you make that statement, if you look at the commissioner, look at the second paragraph there, it says the commissioner is only there for November 2024. And then the alternate is there for a little bit longer.
And we could appoint him.
They can be reappointed.
Okay,
That's right. That's right. And we can kick the other part down the road.
The only difference is that I know Joe's been on the planning board for many, many years, involved in
Well, I
a lot
agree.
of that stuff.
I have no
That's
problem
why
with Joe
I'm
going.
willing
Nominate
either
you as
way
a
it goes
commissioner
in the
and
2024
and
time
have Nate as
period.
an alternate.
Absolutely no problem with that.
And Nate and I'll go together so that
Mhm.
he can get the educational part of it. Because most of those things are presentations by the electric co-op or wetland science or what a DOT. They have lots of different ones. And he would be interested in that, I'm sure.
So I rescind my motion. Someone make a motion for, who made the
Motion
second? Yeah, you
for,
made the second.
Joe and Nate as the alternate.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, motion's been made and seconded for Joe to be the representative and Nate as the alternate. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain?
I'll abstain
All right,
because I'm
Joe
on
abstains.
the
Okay.
ballot.
All right, and I just have one more. During this recent hot spell, the town clerk and deputy town clerk approached me and asked that perhaps maybe bring it to the board. When we have the air conditioning downstairs in the office, it does not reach in their office. It's when it's a 70 or 72 in the office, it's 85, 83, 80, 83 around where Becky's desk is, and it's upwards of 85 around where Kim's desk is. Could we ask Chris to come in and remember he said he'd come in and check the zones when the air conditioning and so on came if there was an issue?
I'd say that's a good thing. We pay for air conditioning that's not working
Yeah, it could-
effectively.
Be balanced out better. There's only, if I recall, there's only one duct that goes over by the front window there by those offices, and perhaps another duct could be added, or maybe that one's damaged or kinked or something in the basement.
Is the duct covered with a desk or furniture?
I don't
But
know.
wouldn't that be interesting?
It's not.
Yeah.
I tell you, I wasn't aware of that, but, my office and in other offices, so it's not just the town clerk tax.
So it might need servicing. Hasn't been serviced for years. I know that. And
The ductwork,
no, just the whole system.
the whole system.
Could
That's
we
the
have them
same-
come in and check
Might
it
need
out?
charging or something.
Is that the same old system we've had?
Mhm.
Oh, the dinosaur.
It's probably due for a
Ice
thorough
blocks and a
cleaning, if
fan.
nothing
I know
else.
Working with
I've
that.
changed filters on it a couple times. The
Never worked out.
condenser coils were pretty clogged up and cleaned that out last year. And it's,
When was the last time the ductwork was cleaned out?
I don't know.
I bet those condenser coils are an issue.
It's probably needs a charging, all that. So you can have them service it. I'm for that.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Where does the money come from? Town hall repair?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I apologize, Tim. I thought this was an ongoing problem for a couple of years now that people are, one end of the room is cold, one end of the room is hot, one end of the room is,
I wouldn't
It's
call
not-
them cold. I don't know anybody down there that's cold.
Nobody's got a coat on.
you know.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing is, so we're going to come to the board at a later time for upping the fee schedule for the land use office, but I really would love to up the firework fee. It's kind of embarrassing. It's an annual firework fee that they have to have a license, I guess, that we're all signing tonight, and we charge $25 for our fee, and the police have to go out and inspect, fire has to go out and inspect, building inspector has to go out and inspect, and we only charge $25. And then they go to the state doesn't come out and inspect, however, they charge $1,500. Something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, it seems like $1,500 is a lot of money.
I'm not asking to spend $1,500, but $25 is,
It wouldn't cover
it doesn't
one of
cut
those
the,
entities to go out and
right,
inspect.
it doesn't cover the value
Cost.
of the cost of one of those people going out for their rate, their hourly rate even.
Mm-mm.
You've done the research on the numbers.
I'll bring
the
it,
state's got $1,500, but what does Belmont?
I'm just going to
do?
come back with the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
And what
preparing.
what you're proposing.
Right, what I'm proposing, that it needs to go back up a little bit. Not much, but it needs to go back up a little. Because we're losing and we're not gaining on that. Okay, that's it for me. Interim town administrator, Tim
Okay.
Pearson.
Thank you. So, so this is going to be pretty much an update session since there hasn't been a lot of time that's gone by since the last meeting. And as you'll discover how I've been spending my time during this portion, but I did want to draw your attention to my report in your binder. And that the paid time off schedule that the board approved at the 5/16 meeting, at the May 16th meeting, is in your to be signed folder, so that can go into effect July 1st. And then also the Turner Group scope and fee agreement is also in the to be signed folder. And again, that was approved at the May 16th meeting, and it's in your to be signed folder for signature, with one exception that we will cross out and initial the section on ownership of the documents. And I'll be sure that at the end of the meeting that I check that and have you initial that section if in case you did not, because there is no tag to do so on that page. In addition, there's a number of things for you to review. First of all, this is 2A in my report, and these are just for your review so that you can be familiar with them and read through them. But one is for an agreement with the town of Northfield to share the mechanic and how the pardon the pun, mechanics of that agreement would work, what fees we would pay, how the billing would work, the liability. An attorney for the town of Northfield drew it up. It's been reviewed by Primex, and both the DPW director and I have reviewed the agreement and felt as though it was a fair representation of what we needed. So basically, this will allow us to bring our vehicles to the town of Northfield for certain types of service. This would be, and you'll see in there, there's a schedule for the type of vehicle or equipment that's taken over there. And then how that would work, how they would track that, how we would pay for it, and so forth. And it's a good resource to have, and I think it is something worthwhile doing. So I would encourage the board to read that, and then we can discuss that at the next meeting and hopefully get that approved during the month of June so that it could be in effect starting July. The second item is the land use coordinator job description. This actually, I believe, was in the to be signed file, but the comments that Selectman Dawson had made and which were incorporated into the document have not been reviewed or discussed by the board yet. So I would encourage you to review that. I will be sure to send out a fresh copy of that to the board so that you have that in your email and you can review. And then specifically the agreement on Academy Street with the water district. And I'll just give you the short view of the status of Academy Street. So as the board wanted, Academy Street was closed to through traffic. Signs were put up at both ends showing that it was a dead end and no through traffic. And then the barricades were turned, as we described, to cordon off the area that has the worst damage. There were do not enter signs placed at the center on each of those barricades, and then the reflective materials were put on those barricades in case someone missed everything else. It would prevent them, hopefully, from driving into them. In addition, the message board sign was placed at the entrance to Academy Street, where it had formerly been one way, and noted that it was a dead end. So those things had been done, and in the process of notifying Tilton School and the Water District, I had a discussion with Superintendent Chase regarding the agreement and pertaining to the wall that we had some time ago here with the commissioners from the Water District. And because as far as I was concerned, we had not received the agreement back from the Water District following that meeting. And it seemed as though that's where things had stayed. And in any case, there was some type of communication issue. He said, no, it was done. They had it. And so I now have it, and it is in your area to be reviewed. I'm going to go through it and compare it to the notes that we had from that meeting where we met with the water commissioners when they were discussing having, it was a female attorney they were going to have, who was their attorney that was drawing it up. And I can tell you just from first glance, it does appear to be slightly heavy on the waivers and the limitation of liability, but some of the other things that we had requested be taken out of it were taken out of it. And I guess in general, I'm wondering as if the project changes in such a way that that maybe it doesn't necessitate such an agreement as was originally crafted. And the reason for that, and I don't know for sure and wouldn't know without talking to the commissioners, but I think one of the issues was the concern on the Water District's part that the town was going to engineer and do this work of the wall, of the reconstruction of the wall. And so therefore, I think they were wanting us to have some skin in the game because of it. However, as you requested, I've had an engineer out there to look at it. They're working on a quote. And I have a question regarding that, but Turner Group has been out there. They've met with Chase. They've met with our representative from DPW. And while they work up that quote, we would be having some other party come in to do the work. So maybe that will lessen some of the requirements in this agreement with the water district, because eventually I think it would come down to a matter of access and general mutual waivers of liability and that sort of thing. So in any event, that's something I've got to look into, but I'm going to go through that with a fine tooth comb, but I wanted you to have it so you can look at it. And that is in your review section. In addition, the board had asked to look into the auctioning of Highland Avenue lot. So I did speak to the auctioneer that we had used in the past, and I have a quote in your review area from that auctioneer for the services to auction that lot. Given the time frame that he discussed in terms of advertisements and that sort of thing, we'd likely be looking at a July timeframe right now. But my question for the board was, did you, and I should have asked it at your last meeting when you requested this, but did you want to go out to bid on this? Or did you want to utilize the auctioneer that we've used in actually all of our prior auctions?
I say auction.
He's been the best deal every single time when we went out for bids.
Well, actually, he's done auctions, right?
He's done auctions for us.
Yeah,
Right.
you said bid. He wants to
If
do
we
it.
went out for bids for auctioneer,
Oh,
he comes in the lowest. We could put out more requests.
are you asking whether or not
Well,
to stay with
I am.
him? But do you mean an actual auction or take it in a bid process?
No, I'm asking.
Wants us to go out to bid for auctioneers.
The board
Oh,
already
I don't wanna
voted
go
to
out to
auction
bid.
it, so it's a matter of whether you want to
Nope.
solicit bids from several auctioneers to find one, or do you want to use the auctioneer
Beverly's
that we've
always
used in
had
the
the
past?
best price.
Right.
They've done all of the ones in my memory, and I'm totally satisfied with his services.
I agree.
He's always gone above and beyond.
Yes.
And I can tell you, the fees are very low for the town. The majority of the fee is paid by the winner of the auction. The only fee, really, the significant fee we would pay, and it's in your proposal, it's not that significant, is covering his cost if the auction falls through. And
And we
Payment
can-
of $2,000.
right,
And we can include that in the cost of the property.
correct. So,
So we really don't pay anything
Correct.
It's no cost.
Unless we don't sell it.
unless
And
we
then
don't
we pay
sell it.
$2,000.
so is that a consensus?
It will at least sell for $2,000.
I think it'll be
I
sold.
think so.
Yeah, someone's gonna buy it.
At least for $2,000, we'll get our money back.
That's
Yes,
a consensus?
That's a consensus, Tim, that we stay with this
Okay, thank you.
auctioneer.
All right, I will work with him on getting that moving to the next step. Also, for review, actually, they may be in your to be signed folder, but their board had requested a letter to the Department of Transportation regarding the conditions on Route 3. I prepared a letter for the board signature. It's in your to be signed folder. In addition, the board had asked for a letter to a property owner regarding the care of a cemetery.
Mhm.
And that letter is also in your to be signed folder, and I'm not tied to either one of them if the,
Very nice letters, by the way.
Yes, well done.
okay, all right.
Well done.
Very good. Then once those are signed, we'll send those out. And then lastly, I had a job posting review for the zoning code enforcement, but that's just for your review. That once we have the job descriptions worked out, and as Selectman Dawson pointed out, there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done. The current building inspector job description has zoning code enforcement language in it, which would need to be put into the zoning code enforcement. And in addition, the health officer needs some additional things. So there's some legwork that has to be done with that. I do have a really primo zoning code enforcement job description that'll be coming your way for review. So that will be hopefully in the next week or so. So then moving on to the search update. So we have left, as the board requested, left the posting open for the town administrator position. We have seen the inquiries drop off some, but and there are currently 4 open town administrator / manager positions in the state of New Hampshire. And those are Ashland, which is a town manager position, Allenstown town administrator, Brookline town administrator, and then of course us. And during our non-public session, we'll be reviewing submissions from candidates, and hopefully the outcome tonight will be selecting some people to interview by the board. In addition, the annual evaluations, the process has been started. Amy and I have started meeting with the department heads to go over the use of the form that would be used, that the board reviewed last year. And this is outside of the PD specific forms. And we've also reviewed the deadlines so that we can meet those board review dates in June and hopefully have things tied up by the beginning of July. In addition, the Senior Center bus, an update on that. The Senior Center Executive Committee had discussed amongst themselves whether a minivan or a passenger van would be appropriate for the replacement vehicle. And it was unanimous that they need a passenger van. So one like what we had before. It did not need to be handicap fitted, but it did need to be, with the type of seating that our former van has had. So what I did, we've looked at a number of different vans. We lowered the amount of money from $33,000 we discussed last meeting, pardon me, and also lowered the year of the van, say to look for something 2018 or newer with 65,000 miles or fewer in a passenger van type of vehicle, which was similar to what we had, and that should be about $30,000. So the sources of funds would be $7,500 from the Senior Center donations, $1,000 from corporate donations, one of which we've already received. The Capital Reserve Fund for the Senior Center, $5,000. Sale of the existing bus, $1,500, and then to make use of ARPA funds of $15,000. So the source of funds has changed slightly, but and if we do better than that, it would mean, through other donations, we wouldn't have to use as much ARPA funding. So the question for the board would be, do you want to pursue the same type of thing we did with the pickup truck for DPW and proceed forward to try to find something and act on it in the near term, or how would you like to proceed?
I have a question. What if we don't get any of that other money? 15,000 from ARPA, but we don't really get those donations rolling in. Then how do we pay for it?
We have that donation in our donation fund now.
You have 15 grand?
No, 7,500 right now. So
It's
we're up
still-
at the top, up here.
Yeah.
We have that money right now, and we already have the 1,000.
Yep.
And we already have the 5,000 in our capital reserve.
Right.
And we already know that we can sell. I mean, we're pretty sure that the only unknown is the sale of the existing.
That's correct.
That's the only unknown.
Then I'm a yes.
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 Okay. And
Yes.
would you please vote on the the use of the $15,000 of ARPA funds towards this purchase of a senior center bus, and to withdraw up to $5,000 from the senior center expendable trust fund.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to withdraw $5,000 from the capital reserve fund for the purpose of the senior center bus and $15,000 from the ARPA funds for the same reason. And it's been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Aye.
And secondly, in terms of would you permit the chair of the Board of Selectmen, who's also the chair of the Senior Center Executive Committee, to be able to affect the purchase and sale of this vehicle?
With you. With you.
Yes.
Someone has to sign a purchase and sale for it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Okay, great.
You're going to be on the hook for it.
I'm on the hook for a lot of
Okay,
things.
then moving right along, I'll just run through some other items. We have had some activity responses to our open land use technician position, which I'll review in non-public with the board. I've already reviewed Academy Street being closed. The one question I had regarding Academy, if the board wanted to go out to bid for the engineering services on the street, or would you be fine receiving engineering quotes from Turner Group and McFarland and Johnson, who we're currently doing business with?
I'm good with that.
We have a policy on projects that require this much money that we go out to bid. And I don't think that we'll get lots of bids out of it, but I think we should follow our own policy.
It is a big.
McFarland is the new,
It's Caleb Hill Road. Who's doing Caleb
that's
Hill
Caleb
Road?
Hill Road.
Mhm.
What about the engineer that works with planning?
Keach and
It's-
Nordstrom.
That's a possibility. I guess, by putting it out to bid, we can send it to a specific group of engineers, say Keach, McFarland, Underwood, Turner,
Holden?
Holden. Okay.
I'm just thinking
He had a
that
lapse.
Holden
the
Engineering.
one that
Lapse in
works with
judgment,
planning
sorry.
is more likely to actually bid on it.
Very, right.
So we include them.
We came up with those guys through the bid process.
If we send it out through, say to at least 5, would the board be fine with that?
Reputable engineers, yeah, you bet.
And if you recall, when we went through the process for Caleb Hill Road, we interviewed, we had bid packets from them, we interviewed them, and we had a hierarchy of who we liked from that process. So that'll also guide in sending out these. So, okay, I'll come up.
And on the website too.
Yeah, we will, yeah. So would the board like to see the bid spec before it goes out?
Trust your judgment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair, quick question about Academy Street.
Sure.
Just, Tim, did we let school district and First Student know about the closing of that road? It just
No. crossed
crossed my mind tonight.
No.
Okay, just because I know that not many buses have used that, but
Right.
just a question, because that can alter.
I did think about it after the fact
Okay,
and
yeah.
subsequently forgot about it.
Okay.
But, right,
On the same subject.
learning process. Yes.
The other thing we asked is that they go and replace the washed up berm.
They did.
Okay.
They did. And I do have pictures of both the berm and also how they close things off. So
Yeah,
they
that's
did a
right.
really nice job. DPW really came through and did it very quick.
Berm looks good.
On the crosswalk, so I have talked separately to Selectman Dawson regarding this because she had brought this up during your last meeting, specifically regarding the color blindness issue and blue. And discussing with DPW Director Dow, and then in his investigation with the paint company that supplies us with the paint, there's some peculiarities with the color blue that we have in trying to cover that and the cost that it would take to cover that. And their suggestion was to insert glass beads, not just in the white sections that we put down, but also in the blue. So that will provide reflective, a reflective quality to it. And like it or not, we have quite a bit of blue paint right now. So we're going to, the plan is to use the blue paint. The beads are not expensive, so we purchased enough beads to be able to do that, those sections that'll be blue. So the blue and white will have that reflective beading in them.
Thanks.
That's also going to be done within the next, I believe it's within the next week. You'll start seeing those crosswalks being done.
Can I ask one other question on that?
Yes.
The trail, there used to be, I think there were footprints or something that have worn off too.
Oh, right, footprints.
That go from,
Oh, across the street?
from
Yeah, that's
when the
right.
trail ends up
Right.
by the old PD
Yes,
and then down to where they connect up.
right.
Right, okay.
while they're
I'll make
painting.
sure to bring that to their attention. The meeting with the director will be at your 6 meeting. DPW Director Dow will be there to review the Morrison Avenue options. He has completed his report, and he'll be reviewing some other things with you at that meeting, but that'll be the opportunity to review that. Selectman Dawson already mentioned the planning board meeting with the attorney, and there are some follow-up items, as I understand it, that will occur with the Director Dow. And following that, you can read through my items, F all the way down to the bottom. The ones that I would just say we are expecting any day now to have the final version of the CBA for the board signature. And then also, one of the servers was installed at Town Hall. We're doing the migration right now. And at the PD, they're going through training, and we're starting to see some movement where we can access our system on the county system. But the data migration has yet to be determined. So I think it's going to be a little slower process than what was originally thought of in terms of getting all of the data over for all these communities at the same time. It was an awfully big task. And also the county had changed IT companies from the start of this project to where we are now. So I think that's also led to some of the delay. In any event, I also updated the ARPA reporting to reflect the radio tower batteries that the board approved that we share 50% with Tilton Northfield Fire District. And that is the end of my report.
Tim, do we have the school, Rob Berry, coming in the next week, correct?
I am trying to get a hold of him to
Okay.
see if that schedule is going to work.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Go ahead, John.
I don't know if everybody's been following it, but there's some changes that were going to, I think they were before the Senate on the 91A requests that make it so that people from anywhere can just submit even by email, a request for information.
That's worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. And all the information would have to be sent. So somebody in
Anywhere.
Hong Kong?
Yeah, in Hong Kong can say, I want the list of all your voters or any public information, and we would be required to do all the research at our expense and to send it to them.
Right.
At our expense.
At our expense,
That's a nightmare.
including all the hours it takes, like all of our emails, we'd have to we would literally be just full-time filling those because there could be just data mining. So that's a little bit of a nightmare.
You're in charge, John.
So that's,
Should we send a letter to our legislative representatives from the Board of Selectmen?
Please.
Discuss whether we support or we don't support that proposed bill, but should we do something?
I feel that we should, for
Or have,
sure.
have
Okay.
them come here
I
and we
think
can.
I think there was suggested stuff on NHMA when I read
There
that
was.
update recently, so.
There was.
It might be, you might not have to reinvent the wheel on that.
No,
You might
they
just frame it.
have a number of things that you can
Yeah.
pull and.
Because I read the
Um,
legislative update that came out.
Yep.
They
Right.
had suggestions for municipalities on what to send to your legislators.
But if we send it
I
one
think-
to the board of, from the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Yeah, I can get that prepared for you.
Directly to our legislator and that to make sure that
We
they
have
vote
two, right?
properly.
Right.
Rep and senator.
I
Yep.
cannot imagine what that would turn into.
Yeah, that would not be good.
How it even got as far as that, I don't know.
Right.
So that's scary. These things do
Yeah.
slip through.
I know.
And go there.
There was one other thing I failed to ask regarding June meeting. So the public hearing is set for the intersection of Colby, Clark, Winter, and Califf for June 20th at the PD at 6 p.m. And I've let the people know that came in to speak to you from the Veterans Home, the engineers, and they requested, would they have the ability to just give a very short presentation similar to what they discussed with you about what they were looking to do and why for the public that comes to that meeting.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes, I agree. It's going to be better than us explaining it.
Okay.
But it's all
So-
conceptual. We haven't got anything yet.
Right. That's right.
So it could be something completely different when they actually do it. I didn't want people, concerned that people will think that that's what they're going to be approving and they're all good with it and then something changes and.
I think I missed something.
So the board had asked to get public feedback and to hold a public hearing on
Right,
that.
right.
So that's scheduled for June 20th.
Yep.
When I let the engineers and project people know through the Veterans Home, they asked, they want to be there, and they asked would they be able to give a short presentation on basically what they had discussed with the board.
The Veterans Home wants to give a presentation on their project. At
No,
this public hearing?
Engineers.
no, the engineers regarding the road, the
The stop
intersection.
signs.
Stop signs, speed, stop signs,
Yes,
and,
I get, but,
yeah,
Just a short, like a 5-minute kind of.
My thoughts, it
View.
shouldn't be on the project that they're doing at the Veterans Home because it's
Just
not
the-
even.
Just
No,
the stop
No,
sign.
just.
it's not part of Califf Hill
Well-
road project. It doesn't even,
No.
it doesn't even
No,
include Califf Hill.
no,
But this is.
It's
yeah,
Clark,
but
Colby and Winter.
that's
Right.
correct.
But that.
And
yeah,
how it affects the traffic coming off Califf Hill. Because
That was the
you come to
thought.
a stop and then you make a left.
But our
And then-
project isn't about traffic control.
No,
This
this
is
is the
separate.
one, this was
This
the
is
one.
I
separate.
know it's separate, but I'm just thinking, I'm remembering the discussion we had earlier about this and how long it was, and people really interacted, and do we really want to add to that?
I think the people from that area that are affected most directly should have the opportunity to raise concerns if they have them. I'm the one, I've always said that we should have a public hearing if you're going to change the traffic flow.
But isn't it kind of too late since we've already responded?
No, we
No,
have not.
you
We
asked
haven't
at your last
responded.
meeting for it.
I thought we sent a letter to the commissioner,
nope,
No,
not yet.
so we're holding off
Yes, because we
until
did,
the end of June?
well, because we had the last time in the discussion, the concern became stop at Califf Hill, stop on Clark.
Right,
Yes.
Because that was so that's why we didn't say no, we didn't say we're okay with that. We said no, that's why we wanted to have a meeting of the folks who live there, just so we can sort of pick their brains and think, that's at least my take on what we
Right.
were talking about. So,
You know, do they want to keep it a through street or do they?
Why
are they
wouldn't we
okay?
do that at our next meeting? Why wait until the end of June?
Now, that's a question, but June 20th is the date that was chosen for some reason.
Well, that's the date for the public hearing on the Caleb Hill Road project.
No,
No?
not for
No, no, no.
Caleb Hill Road project. It
Separate.
was for the purposes of this intersection. So the board wanted to have a public hearing in order to get the word out. You know, we needed to get it, you know, have it out a certain amount of time. So that seemed,
Okay, I was lost.
it was 30
obviously.
days
Okay.
out
So this
from
meeting is at the PD on the 20th is not going to be the Caleb Hill Road project.
not
Yeah.
Caleb
It's
Hill Road
just
project,
public hearing on that. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
on that
Thank you.
intersection,
But
right?
they want
That-
to do a presentation on what they're building there at the Veterans Home.
Not on
No.
what they're building,
No.
but they'd like to give a presentation about how they see the effect of the traffic. And they wanted to, they listened to your meeting and they wanted to respond to some of the, some ideas that had come up during the meeting. So
Just a traffic.
just a quick
Traffic
study.
thing.
5 minutes is fine.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I'm fine with the
No,
road thing.
not
I
big.
don't want to hear
It's
about the
the
building.
people that attend that need to have the time.
No offense.
Right,
Not,
exactly.
no,
Not
I just
yet.
don't want, we don't need to hear about the
Okay.
building.
How are we getting the word out to those residents?
We can, I would say we would probably put the sign up there.
Yeah.
Somewhere on either Colby or,
Put it on
And-
the website.
it's on the website and
Interchangeable
also,
sign.
also I can tell you that and Facebook too, have it there, but we need another one of these signs. So I'm looking at grants to see about getting a second sign. Because that one we wrote back in 2018 when we originally got that one. And we really should have a second sign. You really need them
I think we
sometimes
can
on
use
both
it. You
ends.
put them at both ends of town.
Yeah.
Or
But in any
whatever,
case-
one end of the road and the other.
We'll be sure to keep publicizing that, but that was the last thing I needed to ask. So thank you.
Okay. Is there any more business to come before us in a public session? Anybody online? Anybody in here? Greg? Yeah, go ahead.
I couldn't make it, but I was wondering how the farmers market.
Oh,
Really good from what I understand.
we had
I
great
didn't go.
reviews. I didn't participate because I had planning board, but online, social media, everybody loved it and they can't wait to get back. Go ahead.
I went. It was good. Yeah, it was a great turnout. There was a lot of traffic. They were expecting 1,000 RSVPs, 1,000 people. Parking lot was full. Tanger Outlets on the backside was full, and I think they had 19 tents or vendors. They'll only get better as the season goes, so it was great. Yeah.
I was,
Fantastic.
just one more thing, Madam Chair, is I know there's been a lot of activities that the police department have been hosting and putting on and involved in, and would it be possible for them to just go over some of the things public things that have gone on in the last week before we go to non-public?
Hello. So it's been a busy, at least a busy week. We had, starting last week, we did Coffee with a Cop. We had Movie in the Park, which there's a bunch of this information is on our website. We had the Torch Run, which was on Tuesday, and that was for Special Olympics. And then throughout the year, I'll start to post more and more as the year goes on, or this month. We have a couple Touch a Truck events that are going on. I think there's one at the library and then another one at Tanger Outlet. And then again, with Movie in the Park, we have, I think, 5 of those set up this year. So yeah, there's a lot of events and things that are going on, and we're busy and just try to keep that going. So good.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
Thanks. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay. Hearing none. The time being 5:48. Make a motion to go into non-public session, RSA 91A:3, 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Constantino, yes. All right. Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back, everyone. The time being 7:54. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the May 30th, 2024, because the reasons justify the needs for the non-public session still remain. I'd like to seal the minutes permanently.
Jessamine, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there any new business to come before us at this time? Joe,
Motion to adjourn.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Time being
Actually, that's not,
7:54.
that wouldn't be new business, because I say it every week.